Have you ever wondered what secrets a house built on fear can really hide? What if one woman's grief could create a mansion so strange and confusing that it puzzles people even today? And what lessons could a haunted house possibly teach us about facing our own fears and pain? These are the questions we will explore together in this story about the Winchester Mystery House, a place full of mystery, loss, and hope. The Winchester Mystery House is not just a creepy old mansion. It is a real home built by Sarah Winchester, a woman who faced deep sorrow after losing her husband and baby. But this house is unlike any other. It has staircases that lead nowhere, doors that open into walls, and secret rooms hidden behind walls. People have studied it for years, trying to understand why she built it this way. Some say it was madness, but the truth is far more powerful. Sarah was trying to protect herself from the guilt and pain she felt because her family made their fortune from Winchester rifles, guns that caused much suffering in wars. As we dive deeper into this story, you'll hear about strange events inside the house, the mysterious blue window, and what it means to live with fear every day. This isn't just a story about ghosts or haunted places. It's about the human heart and how we try to cope with loss and fear in our own lives. Stay with us until the end to get a full picture of Sarah's story and the important lessons hidden in the walls of the Winchester Mystery House. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel so you won't miss more stories like this. Let's begin. Sarah Winchester's story is one filled with sadness and mystery. She was a woman who faced deep losses in her life that many of us can hardly imagine. Sarah was born into a wealthy family, and she married William Winchester, who was part of the famous Winchester Rifle Company. Their life together seemed perfect, but tragedy soon struck. Sarah lost her infant daughter, a loss that broke her heart. Not long after, her husband passed away too. Alone and full of grief, she was left to carry the heavy weight of sorrow. But Sarah's pain was deeper than just personal loss. The Winchester Rifle Company made guns that were used in many wars and battles, causing suffering to countless people. Sarah believed that the spirits of those who died by those rifles were haunting her. She felt a powerful guilt, as if she was responsible for the pain caused by the guns her family made. This feeling weighed on her so much that she couldn't live a normal life anymore. In search of peace, Sarah began building what would become the Winchester Mystery House. For 38 years, she kept adding rooms, staircases, and hallways without stopping. But this was not a project of madness. Instead, it was her way to protect herself from the spirits and from her own guilt. Building gave her a sense of control when everything else in her life felt out of control. It was a way to keep moving and to face her grief through action. This kind of grief-driven action is something many people understand, even if not on the same scale. When we lose someone or feel overwhelmed by guilt, sometimes we act without really knowing why. Sarah's story shows us how deep sadness can change a person's life in unexpected ways. But it also reminds us that grief is a powerful force that calls for healing, not hiding. In this story, Sarah's life teaches us about how loss and guilt can build invisible walls around us. But these walls don't protect us forever. They need to be understood and healed. Her journey invites us to look at our own pain gently and to find ways to keep moving forward, even when life feels broken. The Winchester Mystery House is famous for its strange and confusing design, and there is much more to it than just being a spooky old mansion. The house was built in a way that seems to confuse anyone who tries to understand it. It has staircases that lead to nowhere, doors that open into solid walls, windows that look out on other rooms, and secret passages hidden behind walls. This unusual architecture wasn't just random. It was Sarah Winchester's way of creating a maze, a puzzle that she hoped would confuse the spirits she believed were after her. Each part of the house carries meaning beyond just bricks and wood. For Sarah, the confusing layout was like a shield, a way to protect herself from the spirits that haunted her. This shows how architecture can sometimes be more than just design. It can reflect the mind's attempt to deal with fear and pain. When someone is deeply troubled, their surroundings can become a reflection of their inner world, full of twists and turns that mirror confusion and emotional struggles. Sarah's home can be seen as a physical maze, a reflection of how our emotions and fears sometimes trap us in complicated paths. Just as the house has doors that lead nowhere, our minds can create mental blocks that stop us from facing what scares us. This can keep us stuck in sadness or anxiety, unable to find a clear way out. It's easy to build walls around ourselves, whether in a house or in life, hoping those walls will keep danger away. But often, those walls only make us feel more lost. People all over the world have used symbolic architecture to express beliefs or protect themselves from harm. For example, some cultures build homes or temples with special designs meant to bring good luck or keep evil spirits away. Sarah's house is a unique example of this, where fear and hope combine to create a place unlike any other. This story invites us to think about the ways we might create our own mazes in life. Sometimes avoiding our fears makes life more confusing, just like the endless staircases in the Winchester house. Understanding this helps us see that true healing comes when we start to find simple, straight paths back to ourselves. The story of the Winchester Mystery House is often surrounded by talk of curses and ghosts, but beneath those stories lies something deeper, the heavy weight of guilt and how it can feel like a curse that never ends. Sarah Winchester believed she was haunted by the spirits of people who were hurt or killed by Winchester rifles, the guns made by her family's company. This belief made her feel trapped, as if she carried the pain of many others in her heart. Whether or not the house is truly cursed, this feeling of guilt weighed heavily on Sarah and shaped her life. Guilt can be a powerful emotion that stays with us for a long time. Sometimes guilt doesn't just affect one person. It can be passed down through families or communities like an invisible burden. This is called inherited guilt or inherited trauma. Imagine carrying the pain of things you did not cause, but that still affect your family or people around you. Many people experience this in different ways, whether because of history, mistakes made by relatives, or hard times their community has faced. Understanding this helps us see that feeling guilty is not always about what we actually did, but about the stories we tell ourselves or the weight passed down to us. Recognizing guilt is important because it is the first step toward healing. When we hold on to guilt without facing it, it can control how we live and stop us from feeling free or happy. The story of Sarah Winchester teaches us that guilt can feel like a curse, but it doesn't have to be. We can choose to face it and start breaking the chains that hold us back. Today, many people find ways to heal from inherited guilt through talking with others, finding support in their communities, or learning to forgive. It takes courage to let go of guilt and pain, but doing so opens the door to peace. This part of the Winchester story reminds us that no matter how heavy our burdens feel, understanding and kindness toward ourselves and others can help us find freedom from the past. It encourages us to face the shadows that follow us so we can live lighter and brighter lives. The Winchester Mystery House is famous for its strange and unexplained events that visitors and caretakers have reported for many years. People talk about cold spots in warm rooms, shadowy figures moving just out of sight, and whispers when no one else is around. These strange happenings add to the house's reputation as one of the most haunted places in the world. But whether these events are caused by ghosts or something else, they show us how powerful our minds are when it comes to fear and belief. Fear has a way of changing how we see the world. When we believe something is scary, even small noises or shadows can feel much worse. This is because our brains are wired to protect us from danger, so they sometimes imagine threats where there are none. This is called fear conditioning, when we learn to associate certain places or situations with fear, even if there is no real danger. The Winchester House, with its dark hallways and strange rooms, is a perfect place for fear to grow. Mental health is closely connected to these experiences of fear. Sometimes the ghosts people see or feel are not spirits, but reflections of their own worries and anxieties. When fear is left unspoken or ignored, it can grow like an unseen ghost inside our minds. This is why it is important to recognize and talk about our fears so they don't control us. Visitors to the Winchester House have shared many stories about feeling watched or hearing footsteps when no one is there. Some caretakers describe how the house seems to wake up at night, with lights flickering and doors moving on their own. These stories, whether true or not, remind us of how much the power of belief and fear shape our experiences. This chapter invites us to think about the ghosts in our own lives, the fears and worries we carry silently. By understanding how fear works, we can start to face it with calm and kindness. Just like the Winchester House hides its secrets behind confusing walls, our minds sometimes hide fear. The first step toward freedom is to gently bring those fears into the light. The final chapter of the Winchester Mystery House story brings us to a powerful moment, a confrontation with the spirit of Sarah Winchester herself. But instead of anger or revenge, Sarah's spirit reveals fear and sorrow. She was not a figure of haunting evil, but a woman trapped by her own pain and guilt, trying desperately to keep the spirits she feared inside the house. This moment teaches us that sometimes what we fear most in others is actually a reflection of our own fears and pain. Sarah's story reminds us that fear, when left unchecked, can grow stronger and more frightening than it needs to be. She built endless rooms and locked doors to protect herself, but in doing so, she also trapped herself inside her own fear. This is a powerful lesson for all of us. Fear can feel like a prison if we don't find a way to face it and move beyond it. Many people today struggle with fears that seem larger than life. These fears can hold us back from living fully or reaching our goals. Like Sarah, we sometimes try to protect ourselves by building walls, whether they are emotional walls or physical barriers. But true freedom comes not from avoidance, but from courage. It comes from opening the doors we are afraid to open and facing the unknown. The story also touches on the idea of time feeling like it loops or repeats when we are stuck in fear or pain. This sense of being trapped in a cycle is something many people experience in their own lives. But breaking free means recognizing the patterns and making small choices to change them. Each step forward, no matter how small, helps us move out of the loop of fear. Finally, the Winchester Mystery House continues to stand today, a reminder of the power of fear, loss, and courage. Many visit the house hoping to understand its mysteries, and some rooms remain closed off, not for safety, but to keep peace. Sarah's story encourages us to look at our own fears with kindness and to take steps toward healing. It shows us that even when fear feels overwhelming, there is always a way toward hope and light. The story of the Winchester Mystery House is much more than just a tale about a haunted mansion or ghostly spirits. It is a powerful story about a woman named Sarah Winchester, who faced great loss and pain, but kept going, even when her fears seemed too big to handle. Through her story, we learn that fear and guilt can build walls around us, just like the walls and confusing rooms she built in her house. But these walls, while meant to protect, can also trap us if we don't find a way to face what scares us. Everyone has fears and hurts, and sometimes these feelings feel like they will never end. But Sarah's life teaches us that even in the darkest moments, there is strength in moving forward. Building something, even when it is hard, can be a way to heal and to find hope. It shows us that healing is not always a straight path. it can be full of twists and turns, just like the Winchester house itself. This story also reminds us how important it is to face our fears with kindness. When we understand our pain instead of running from it, we begin to free ourselves. We learn that courage is not the absence of fear, but the choice to keep going despite it. And sometimes reaching out for support and sharing our stories can help us heal more than we expect. The Winchester Mystery House still stands today, welcoming visitors who want to explore its mysteries. But it also stands as a symbol of hope, healing, and the strength it takes to face the unknown. As you think about this story, remember that your own fears and challenges do not define you. There is always a way forward, and every step you take is part of your own journey toward peace and light.